Wow, 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 wow. What is happening on Xiaohongshu? Now, this app in China was, primarily for promoting good businesses, good outdoor activities. It was never really a social app, not to the extent that it is now after so many Americans have joined the fray. Now, I don't think this is a bad thing. I think the exchange of culture and the exchange of ideas is very good for humanity as a whole. But the only thing is that I'm seeing is a lot of people, a lot of Americans complaining about the price of food in America. Now, don't get me wrong. Price of food in North America and Western countries is a little out of control. But from me being here in China for the past number of years, I can tell you that yes, the produce and the price of a lot of items is lower than what you would pay outside of China or in North America or Europe. However, before you're going and freaking out on Xiaohongshu about how much you're paying for eggs and how cheap they are here and how people here you believe, or some of these Americans believe, how China is paying so little for their produce. But a big part of that is the local salary. So where you're saying, or some of these people are saying, I can barely get by. I'm paying such and such an exorbitant amount of money for eggs, a dozen eggs, or a bundle of bananas. I understand that. And it's tough. But in, let's say, America, where you're possibly making 5,000-6,000 a month on average, maybe even 4,500 American dollars. Here in China, the average is around 1,000 American dollars. Or here in the city that I'm in, currently in Chongqing, the average local salary is about 4,000 renminbi. So that's 700 American dollars, 650 American dollars a month. So to be comparing what the produce costs in another country or your country compared to what it costs here in China, it's apples and oranges, baby. Like, you cannot compare the two. It just doesn't make sense. It's two totally different economies, two totally different amounts of population. I mean, here they have 4 times the population of America. So in my eyes, I don't see the relation with this. I don't see why people are freaking out about this. Two totally different economies. You cannot compare the cost of produce between one country and another. Not like that. Not just straight up. There's so many other factors that play in this, so many other variables that you have to account for. Now, another thing with the Xiaohongshu, how long is it really going to last? I mean, come on. The Chinese government, or TikTok, Douyin, they had a firewall between the two companies for a reason. They're two totally separate companies for a reason. The Chinese government didn't really want the foreigner influence on their population. I mean, that's why they had the China version, Douyin, and then they had the Western version, TikTok. They kept the two separate. They did that for a reason. Now with Xiaohongshu, there's a lot of intermingling going on between the two countries. I mean, I'm kind of specifically talking about the US, America, and China. These two countries now are the two that I'm speaking about at the moment. And just the sharing of the culture and the knowledge, and people turning against their own home media outlets. I totally understand that. This is what I've built this channel for, is to make Westerners, foreigners, aware of what China has to offer. China is a great place. It is so much. But is it better than your home country? It has its ups, it has its downs. The same with your home country, wherever you are. If you're in America, Canada, Britain, Australia, that place has ups and downs. The economy's up and down. Here's the exact same way. it's hard for locals to find jobs, good, steady paying jobs, and they don't really get a whole lot of benefits here. Now, I know it's the same thing in Canada. It's probably the same thing in the US. It's difficult to find jobs. It's a difficult economy right now for everyone. And I don't think, I've seen a lot of these posts on Xiaohongshu of people being like, how do I immigrate, or how do I move to China? Can I find a job in China? How much do they pay? Before you jump the gun on that, just the whole world's going through the same thing right now. It's not just your country. People here are having a lot of issues finding jobs. And right now on Xiaohongshu, on that app where everyone is intermingling, it's great. Don't get me wrong, but right now is the honeymoon phase. So I'm waiting for all this stuff to turn, for all of it to land on its head. People, start to really have some cultural differences, headbutting, and the not so nice side of it. That is probably coming downstream sometime. I see where some Americans are already complaining about the moderation of the app. Hey, it's their country, it's their app. It is what it is. But I do see some Americans complaining like, I'm getting kicked off, or I'm getting warnings about saying certain things. And that's just how it is here. So, people are already starting to turn on this app, which is not surprising in my eye. Another benefit that I do see from this, however, is the language barrier. So it's so hard to learn Mandarin. I've been trying to learn for the past 5 years. Maybe I should have tried harder than I have been, but it's a very difficult language, and you'll never learn it all. You'll never learn all the nuances to any other language besides your own. However, Mandarin is just a different monster in itself. But I do see all these people now, all these foreigners, Americans, now starting to try to learn the language, which is really something, and something that I really appreciate as a foreigner living in China are seeing, foreigners actually taking an interest in this and trying to connect with this population here, because it's a very untapped source of friendship and relationships that I think, some of the media hasn't been totally upfront about. Some of the governments haven't been totally upfront about. But like I said, that's kind of why I'm putting this channel out there, and what I'm trying to introduce to foreigners, to people outside of China, is how great this country can be, and how great the people and how accepting the people are, and how maybe these stereotypes and judgments that people have had previously against the population here, against Chinese people, are not founded. There's no basis for them. And I think a clean slate, or breaking down that barrier, or your previous beliefs or thoughts, judgments, is a great thing that I'm seeing right now with this transfer of culture and heritage between these two populations on this one single app. Who saw this coming? I did not see this coming in a million years, and I never see, foreigners just flocking to be part of a Chinese app. Another negative from all these foreigners, all of Americans and whoever else joining this app suddenly, it's kind of stripping away from what Chinese people wanted and see for the app. This is their own app, maybe a lot of them aren't welcoming to foreigners, and I think that's starting to come out as well. And that's just how some people are, and that's, it's their app, it's their space. Not much you can do about it. Just, I know whenever I open the app here, it used to be only for restaurants or food, or if someone accomplished some feat that they've been working on personally for a long time, they would post it on there. Or it would be for just good recommendations for trips or sightseeing or food. But now it's like, oh, here's my pictures from my last beauty shoot, or here's pictures of my son doing ballet, or I don't know. It's all foreigner stuff now. And, these foreigners are treating it like they treated TikTok. And this is not the Chinese TikTok app. The Chinese TikTok app is Douyin. It's not Xiaohongshu. It's not this little red book. So I can see why some Chinese people, some locals here are upset about all these foreigners suddenly on their app. I get that. Also, another negative kind of to the local Chinese population that they're starting to notice is that a lot more of these foreigner posts are getting more of the engagement overall in the app. The algorithm is still trying to figure things out. So, you're seeing, whenever I open the app, it's all foreigners. I don't see any more Chinese local people posts. It's all foreigners. Or if it is Chinese local people, they're trying to ask foreigners questions. Like I said, it's their app. They can do what they want with it. But eventually the welcome is going to run out. Like I said, right now, I think it's the honeymoon phase. Everyone's all lovey-dovey. That's great. Enjoy it while it lasts. But I'm just here to warn, it's not going to last. And before you start comparing prices and produce or how much time people spend in their job or with their families, it's two totally different economies, two totally different governments. Just don't compare it. Don't think less of your life or what you've put into it or what you've achieved is any less because this person on the other side of the world has done more than you in less time. Or, don't think that they're getting ahead in life by paying less for produce. You can't compare your salary from another country to the salary here in China and compare produce prices. That's just there's no logic to it. But what I will say you should do if you have more interest in this country, if you have more interest in China, let's say you've been looking on the Xiaohongshu and you're like, wow, look at that city. Wow, look at these people. They're so inviting. I want more of this culture. I want more of this community. What I think you should do is look into traveling to China. Travel China. It's a wonderful place. So much to offer. People are friendly. The food is not, American Chinese food. That's garbage. The food here is full of flavor. It can be healthy. It's just amazing. And that's what I'm trying to do with this channel. So if you're interested in traveling China and you just want to know more about the culture and the community here, I'm based in Chongqing. You can look it up online. It's a beautiful city, especially at night. I'm trying to, bring awareness to the world about this city and how amazing it is. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe to this channel, like this video. And if you're thinking about traveling to China sometime in the future, there's this company, Chongqing Tours, and they offer bespoke tours, custom tours. They also offer food tours, city tours, whatever you're looking for, they'll have it. They'll also help you out with any, logistics and coming to China, to especially to Chongqing. So if you're interested in that, check them out right here. In the description below is also a link to the website. Check it out. Right now, they do have a sale on 10% off food tours, and that runs until the end of the month. You can book for anytime you want, in the summer, fall, whatever. But the sale runs out on January 31st. So with that, I hope that you take something from this video. I really enjoy the cultural exchange on Xiaohongshu recently. I think it's just a honeymoon phase. We'll see where it leads, but we'll see you in the next one.